We now begin session one, themed Strategic Minerals, Strategic Capital. To open the session, please welcome Mr. Gankhuyag Ganbold, Head of Project Development and Management Department at our Erdenes ITP, to present on Mongolia's next growth engine, industrial parks investment opportunities. Mr. Gankhuyag is a mining executive and mineral economist with over 14 years of experience in Mongolia's mining sector. Previously, he served as CEO of Altan Kudur LLC, one of Mongolia's leading iron ore producers. Please put your hands together for Mr. Gankhuyag Ganbold.
Okay, hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests and investors. So my name is Gankhuyag Ganbold. I'm a head of the project development and management of Erdenes ITP company. So it is a pleasure and honor to speak with you today here in New York. And today I would like to introduce the new chapter in the Mongolian economic development. So one that goes beyond the mining extraction and goes beyond raw material export, but more towards the industrialization and long-term value creation. So for decades, Mongolia has been recognized for its vast mineral resources, and only the mineral resources alone do not create the maximum value and prosperity, but industrialization and also the processing and the manufacturing, it actually creates the long-term sustainable value. So we believe the industrial parks is actually the growth engine for Mongolian economic development. So before going into more deep into my slides, I would like to briefly introduce our parent company, the Erdenes Mongol Group. So Erdenes Mongol is a state-owned mining corporation. So it managed 33 subsidiary companies, and all the subsidiary companies work in the mining sector from the exploration to processing. And last year, the Erdenes Mongol performed a very good financial and operation performance, and $4.5 billion in the revenue, and $1.5 billion in profit, and also managing around $9.6 billion in total asset. And also the Erdenes Mongol Group plays a very significant role in Mongolian economy. As you can see on the graph, so Erdenes Mongol accounts totally around 18% for our national tax income, and also 28% of total export, and accounts 20% of our national GDP. So these numbers actually represent how vital for the Erdenes Mongol for the Mongolian economy. So our company is Erdenes ITP, so we are more focusing on developing the industrial park projects. And we are now working on planning the industrial projects, and like doing our master plan and feasibility studies and other necessary studies like the environmental assessment, etc. And also we are working on the development, and that includes the attracting the investment and procurement, and also the construction of the infrastructure and primary plants. And also to successfully establish the industrial park, so our main role will be managing the whole operation of the industrial park, not the manufacturing and the production. So that part is taken care of by the private sectors or companies who are working in the industrial park zone. So we are just, overseeing the whole utilities and infrastructure of the industrial park. So the industrial park model is just not just isolated and construction project. It also very well aligned and directed by Mongolia's long-term development policies, like Vision 2050, and also the government 4 years action plan, and also the Erdenes Mongol's midterm strategy. And all these development policies are focused on the industrial sector development. And we offered for industrial investors some advantages. The first is the mineral resources. As you can see on the table, so it shows our registered reserves. So the 60 million tons of copper and 40 billion tons of coal and 2 billion tons of iron ore and some gold and fluorspar, etc. But this is not limited by these resources. Our 50,000 scale of geological mapping and prospecting is actually only done in the 52% of our total land. So there is more potential in the exploration area and identifying the more deposits. And also we have very good renewable energy resources. And according to the studies, we have 1,100 gigawatts of wind energy resources and 2,200 gigawatts of solar energy resources. And also we can provide 500 hectares land for the industrial park development. And also, at the same time, we have some disadvantages, some problem and issues, some challenges. For example, so we annually producing around 1.4 million tons of copper concentrate and only produce around 7,000 tons of cathode copper, which is around only 2%. Our processing rate is 2% on the copper. And also we are extracting around 100 million tons of coal annually. And only 9% is processed. And iron ore and phosphor is processing rate is 0 right now. So we have more potential in that area. And the 94% of our export is from the mining sector, the mineral resources. And 95% of them is non-processed raw ore. And we are, on the other side, we are importing the final goods and final products. The 95% of our import is final product. So we have a potential to produce these importing goods domestically based on our mineral resources. And also in the energy sector, we are still importing the electricity from Russia and China, and 25%, approximately 25% is from importing electricity right now. So these are the challenges and difficulties we are having in Mongolia right now. But from the business perspective, so this disadvantage and these issues actually creates the business opportunity. So there is a vast space that investors can work in and expand their business in Mongolia. So our company is simply the building industrial nests, which building a more investor-friendly environment and supplying mineral resources and infrastructure and a market resource and technology resource. And also on the other side, we are gathering the partnerships. We are attracting the investors and EPC contractors and the research and developers. So integrating this resource and partnership, we are hoping to successfully build the industrial nest for the investors. So we have 6 industrial park projects, and each one of them has its own development directions. The first is copper processing plant and steel manufacturing plant and building material manufacturing plant complex and brown coal processing complex, a fluorspar processing complex, and coking coal processing complex. So our government is offering the investors some benefits if they work in the industrial park zone. By the law, the government offers some tax and non-tax incentives. For example, the custom duty waiver for 5 years and extension of the import value-added tax payment for 4 years and exemption from the land fee for 10 years and full exemption from the property tax for first 5 years and 50% reduction in the next 5 years. And also there are some non-tax incentives like accelerated depreciation method and also the permanent residency for the investors under the more simplified process. And also we have a very good international agreements. We already had some double taxation agreement with 26 countries and also bilateral investment agreement with 43 countries. And also government can offer the tax stabilization certificate based on the investment amount, and the period of the certificate goes up to 18 years based on the amount of investment. So total 6 industrial park requires around 9.4 billion US dollars, and 27% of them for the primary plants, and 7% of this investment is for infrastructure, and the rest of the 66% is for downstream plants. So we, Erdenes Mongol and Erdenes ITP, is now more focusing on the primary plants investment and also the infrastructure. And the rest of the downstream plant investment, that's actually taken care by the private sector. So we are offering the investors for some investment options. First one is the primary plant project. And in this case, Erdenes Mongol actually co-invest in this project with the investors, establish a joint venture. So this kind of project includes the copper smelter and steel plant and coal chemical plant and coke energy plant, etc. Also, we offer the downstream plant projects. And in this case, the investment can invest 100% and also own the plant. It's 100% private ownership. And also the next one is infrastructure project. This project includes the power plant and railway and logistic hubs. And in this case, we are expecting more public and private partnership models like BOT and BT. And also there is industrial real estate projects for the investors, and there will be at 100% the private ownership projects. That includes the factory shell and the warehouse and commercial zones in the industrial park zone. And also there is the opportunity to investors partnered with, participate with in this investment is Industrial Park Investment Fund. So we are having a discussion with Development Bank of Mongolia, and we are planning to establish Industrial Park Investment Fund, and the sponsors will be the Development Bank of Mongolia and also the Erdenes Mongol, and also the private investors and international financial institutions. And of course, this investment fund will be managed by a professional and asset management company, and this fund will finance the primary plants and private manufacturing, infrastructure, and industrial listed projects. So these slides gives you more detailed, a little more detailed information about our current projects. The first is copper smelter project, and it requires around $772 million investment. And we already done the feasibility study and environmental assessment, and also the security land, and already nearly finished the infrastructure project. And now we are working on selecting a strategic investor. The next one is integrated steel plant. The government aiming to establish and build at least 1 million tons of capacity at the steel plant, and this requires around $800 million investment. And we prepared the pre-feasibility studies and also secured the land. Also, we acquired the necessary permissions from the government. And we just announced the receiving the expression of interest in the last week. And this expression of interest, actually it ends, the deadline is the 11th of May. So whoever interested in this project still can to submit their proposal to the government. So the next one is fluorspar processing cluster. So we in Mongolia, we have a very good the fluorspar reserve in the world. So we own 36 million tons of fluorspar. So fluorspar is one of the critical mineral, and the mineral resources ranked fourth in the world. And our extraction rate is second in the world, and our export range is first in the world. So we are a very big player in the fluorspar market in the world. But the 70% of our export is just raw ore. So we have very good potential in this field as well. And this cluster, it requires around $280 million, and it includes the following: the plants, the fluorspar processing plant, and hydrogen fluoride plant, and aluminum fluoride, etc. Also, we can offer some renewable energy project in the industrial park. And developing the industrial park, we also have to establish some new energy source. And we are expecting our industrial park's energy demands around 670 megawatts. And out of that, 30% we are expecting to supply from the renewable energy. That would be around 200 megawatts. And that is not a single project. We have 6 industrial parks, and each park has from the 20 to 50 megawatts renewable energy project. And this project, we can work with the private investors. It can be owned by private investors. Also, we can co-invest on the project, and also PPP is also acceptable. And ladies and gentlemen, so Mongolia is entering the new era, the era where growth is driven not only by extraction, but by manufacturing and by creating a value and by long-term industrial capability. So we believe the industrial park are the platform that will unlock that future. And we warmly invite the investors and developers and financiers and the strategic partners to join us in building Mongolia's next growth engine. And thank you very much.